everyone, and welcome to episode 20 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And this week's guest is former OU baseball player Carson Atwood. And Carson is Sooner born, Sooner bred, raised a Sooner fan by his dad. And he played baseball at OU for 4 years and earned a degree in human relations. He also played professionally the summer after graduation. And we have a great conversation just talking about his time at OU and the OU baseball program and his love for the program and for Coach Skip. And we talked about his time on the team in 2022 when they made their run on the road to Omaha. So we have a great conversation, and I hope that you will enjoy this week's guest and my conversation with Carson Atwood. Well, thank you, Carson, for joining. I wore my baseball shirt just for you.
Hey, I like it.
Okay, well, I'm excited to hear about your time at OU, and thank you for coming on, because I'm enjoying getting to visit with athletes from all different sports and all different spectrums. So I'm very excited to have a baseball player. So thank you again. So tell me a little bit. I know you're from Ardmore because I know some of your family, but tell me a little bit about your journey and how you ended up at OU, and just, anything you want to talk about baseball wise, getting you to that point.
I guess I'll start. I'm originally from Ardmore. I guess my family's lived there my entire life. But when I got to high school, they sent me to Silo, where my dad is the principal. And so, that's an hour drive every day, which wasn't fun at all.
No.
But, they have good baseball there. And so I really don't think I'd be where I am if it didn't do that, as much as I didn't like it at the time.
Yeah.
Because, I was big. I loved football. I think I was a decent little quarterback in middle school, but had to give that up to go play baseball. And then, honestly, I really wasn't even that good until probably end of sophomore years, kind of when I started getting really good, started getting attention. I went to some showcases here and there. But, I guess once that exposure set in, I'd say it gave me a little bit extra drive.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
then I went to this, PBR event I went to one in Enid and then one in Tulsa. They're about a month apart. And after that Tulsa one is when I started talking to OU. And then they ended up offering me pretty quickly. And so, let's see. Honestly, so I was getting recruited by a few schools. It was Kentucky, OSU for a little bit.
Oh, nice.
I got an offer from Wichita State.
Yeah.
And then Kentucky, which they have, I guess, an in to Silo. Because
okay.
One of the coaches there either knew my head baseball coach or played for him, or I want to say he played for him.
Okay.
But he was he wanted me to come to Kentucky, and he ended up, I think he was back at OSU by the time I ever got out of high school. So I started talking to them, and then I really didn't know where I wanted to go. I kind of did, but I wasn't sure. And so that summer after my junior year, I guess it might have been going into my junior year, that summer I completely stopped talking to everybody. I was just kind of over it.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
And the only team or only school I really ever talked to was OU at that point. I'd cut everybody off. And so that fall, before our fall season, I knew where I wanted to go at that point. And so I guess there I was. I was at OU for 4 years. I guess that kind of says I loved it.
Yeah.
So I think I made a pretty good decision there.
I think so. Well, you grew up a Sooner fan, so that helps for sure. And, I've heard nothing but good things about Skip and the coaching staff. So I think that when there's players like you that stick around for a long time, that says a lot about him. So, and he knows pitching, and you were a pitcher.
Yeah,
so
better than most.
So he seems like a really good guy. I love listening to him. Anytime he's on the radio or any of the OU stuff, he's always fun to listen to. So yeah,
he's awesome.
He seems like a legit guy. I have never heard one bad thing about him. The only other baseball-related person I've had on, I think I told you, was Carly Murray.
Yes.
And oh my goodness, she's the sweetest thing ever. It's been fun talking to her and following her on social media, which I have for a while anyway. But yeah, she's got a really cool gig going on.
Funny story about Carly. She thought I hated her. So I talk to the story every time we're near each other, because we used towards senior year, junior and senior, we'd always see each other and we'd talk and have. But I guess it was probably that year we went to Omaha. Like I think that's when she started.
Yes.
And so we're sitting there, and she was in the dugout at that point, like doing the radio stuff. She has
Uh-huh.
this long cord
Mm-hmm.
that she has to drag everywhere because it's kind
Uh-huh.
of an inconvenience. And so I want to say I might have stepped on it or tripped over it. And jokingly, I looked at her and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And she took that to heart.
Oh no.
And like I didn't think anything else about it. And
Right.
then probably we're sitting at the pool one day at our apartment complex, and I found out she actually lived there too. I'm pretty sure.
Uh-huh.
But I just saw her one day, and she was, I wouldn't say side eyeing me, but
Uh-huh.
she didn't really talk to me. And I asked her she was doing, and she's kind of like keeping it short a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay, something's off here. And so we actually like start talking, and then I don't remember how it came up. And she goes, "I thought you hated me." And I was like,
Oh.
"No." I was like, I don't have any problems with you. I actually enjoy you. Like enjoy
Yeah.
talking to you and like all that.
Yeah.
And just that's like such a relief. And I was just
Right.
like, we ended up getting that out of the way. Now I saw her the other day, and she said hi with a big smile on her face.
Aw.
It was like, it's just a cool friendship
That
that we
is.
have.
That is. That's so funny. Well, I'm sure she has a unique relationship with a lot of the
Yeah.
guys, in the dugout because she hangs out there. And yeah, I saw her. Well, I've seen her a couple times this season. When I've been at a baseball game, I'll go over and say hi to her. But yeah, she's always got that really long cord that she's
Yeah.
having to drag around.
Follows
So
her everywhere.
I feel bad for her. Like you said, it's not convenient for her by any means. So
The other day, I guess she's on top of the dugout now, so
yes.
it's a little bit
Uh-huh.
less of a convenience. But I mean, it's
Yes.
still like I wouldn't want to carry that thing around.
I wouldn't either. Yeah, the first time she
Mhm.
was like, I can't move. I'm like stuck up here.
Yeah,
She's kind of stuck in there. But yeah, she's awesome. I really enjoyed talking to her about all the things that she does. So tell me, so the Omaha run, that was a really good season. And
that was fun.
I bet so. I still kick myself for not going to Omaha that year. That's one place I've never gone. And that's kind of on my bucket list of
Hmm.
things to do. And I do kick myself for not going that year because I know it didn't turn out the way we wanted, but it was a good run. So yeah,
We were so close.
tell me all. It was close. It was okay. And then so last weekend, we played Ole Miss again,
Hmm.
and I know they were doing the whole like let's sweep for Spike and all that, and yeah, that we failed at that too, but that's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. It's been such a good season this year too. But
Hmm.
anyway, let's talk about the Omaha run because that was so much fun. That was so fun to watch. So
That was such an interesting year.
yeah,
How it kind of started. We I wouldn't say that we were like kind of a cliquey group, but
hmm
we kind of were. And like it's unlike we all hang out with each other, talk to each other, but like we wouldn't like put in the extra effort to go hang out with each other unless
uh-huh.
it was as a big group. And we
Yeah,
did that every once in a while, but like I mean, we had our good times, but we also had our kind of our struggles.
yeah,
So like that entire fall, like there was people on that team that like I hadn't said 10 words to all year.
yeah,
It's like they were just kind of like the quiet people that didn't really ever do anything, didn't go out, like
right.
just kind of doing their thing, which is
hmm
nothing wrong with that. But like once the season starts, I think I remember who we played first. I want to say we were in Globe Life.
Oh yeah,
We had an okay start. Like I
huh?
want to say we went 2-1. I want to say 2-1. That sounds about right. And then I think we ended up sweeping the next weekend. And
hmm
then so like we're starting to like feel pretty good. Turn around, go to Houston the next weekend, lose 3 games. And I want to say we got beat. We got beat by LSU, who's number 7 at the
Oh
time,
gosh, yes, yeah.
and that place was insane.
Oh, I
Like
bet.
because
I've heard that.
it's about a 4, not even a 5 hour drive to Baton Rouge, and they
hmm
travel well.
They do. They certainly do.
It was crazy. So there was 24,000 people at that game, and I can tell you that it was leaning quite a bit on the purple and yellow, to say the least. Like you're
Wow.
sitting there and you're just hearing LS,
Yeah. Gosh, they're so loud. They're so
and it's
loud.
like vibrating the stadium. Like you
I've
could feel it in your soul, and it's
yeah.
like, okay, this is legit. Like I loved every
hmm
second of it.
Uh-huh.
But we ended up losing that game. We had our closer out there, Trevin Michael, and
Uh-huh.
just kind of got hit with one questionable play that could have been caught and then turned into a 2-run homer to tie the game. And then we end up losing the game on a walk-off bomb that probably still hasn't landed.
Oh gosh.
And then we turn around and we play UCLA, who honestly wasn't even really all that good.
Mm-hmm.
And they just beat the crap out of us. Like, that was brutal. That was
Yeah.
embarrassing, actually. And then we have LSU, or not LSU, Tennessee, who ended up being the number 1 seed in the tournament that year, beat us 8-0. 8-0. Like, it was not even a competitive game at all. And they were good. That was an unreal team.
They were good.
They were good.
I remember that game.
Yeah. And so I feel like that weekend just kind of like stuck with us for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we turn around and we lose the Friday night game against Northwestern State of all teams down in Globe Life. And we end up winning the series, but it's just like, okay, is this how this year's kind of going to go?
Yeah.
Well, we kind of had our lulls. Like, we end up, like, our whole thing was blowing leads that year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'd have a 3-run lead in the 7th inning and the bullpen come in and just blow it. And it was funny. Like, not funny, but it was kind of funny to like look at Twitter and just see how it's not this again.
It becomes a joke after a while. You have to laugh, yeah.
So I want to say we get all the way through the year. We're doing pretty good in conference play. I think we're in like 5th place, which I say good, but could have been a lot better. But then we play OSU and we lost the series.
I remember that.
We won the Friday night game. Turn around, we have a big lead or I say big lead. It was probably like a 5-run lead in the Saturday game, which at Obrate, 5 runs is nothing.
Yeah, right.
And so we end up blowing the lead in like the 8th inning, and then we end up losing. Turn around, just non-competitive game on Sunday. And then something just kind of clicked. Like, I think we have Amarillo that next Tuesday, and we had 2 guys go 5 for 5 with, I think we hit like 8 home runs as a team. Now the wind was blowing out 50, but we won't talk about it. But like, we just destroyed them. Mm-hmm. And then from that moment on, it was like the season went in like fast forward.
Yeah.
Like, it was, that entire time was a blur when we went from, what was it, 16-12 to 38-20. Like, we just went on this run that was insane. But it didn't feel like it at the time. Like, we were playing good. Yeah, it was fun, but we never sat there and just thought that we're good.
Right.
Like, the joke of the team was like, we're not very good at all. Like, we're sitting there, I want to say it was Florida in that regional, and I'm sitting there, like, my roommate Carter Campbell, we're talking, it's like, how are we here? Like, I look at our first baseman. He's all right, not very good. Like, it was Blake Robertson, who ended up getting drafted, I want to say the 8th round or something like that. He was a baller. Like, he was good, but like, it wasn't special. And then we look at our second baseman, Jackson Nicholas at that time. He's a freshman.
Okay, yeah.
We have Peyton Graham, who's our shortstop, who, great guy. He was just kind of in his own little world. Like, you had no clue what he was going to do.
See that about him. I remember him, so I can see him being that way. That's funny.
And then third base, you sit there and you're like, Wallace Clark, freshman. He's really good at bunting, wizard on defense. Really can't do much else. It was like, okay. And then you have Jimmy Crooks, who's Jimmy Crooks.
Oh, Jimmy, yeah.
Behind the plate. And then our weekend rotation was lights out.
Oh, yes.
Like, we had Jake Bennett, David Sandlin, Cade Horton at the end of the year.
Yes.
And then we had a lockdown closer in Trevin Michael. So our pitching staff, like, we had, like, me and Carter, we were just kind of guys that rolled it over to the guys that mattered. Like, we weren't anything special or anything. We were just the guys that would go in and do our job. And so, like, our pitching staff was it was a fun time because it was like you see dude after dude after dude after dude. Let's see, who's our left fielder then? Kendall Pettis.
Kendall Pettis, yes.
You look at Kendall Pettis, team guy.
Yes.
Team guy. Fast, can run, always got on base. It was always a joke because whenever he'd square to bunt, people would throw at him. Mm-hmm. Just for no reason at all, but it was always him. And other than that, I think he actually hit 6 home runs that year. I don't think he hit 3 in the other 4 years. It was always a joke. It was like, where's that been?
That's so funny.
And then you have John Spikerman in right field that year. Electric. Like, it sucks that he only played half the year because it was like once we got him, Jackson Nicholas, and Wallace Clark in the lineup at the same time, I think with those 3, at one point we were like 25-3 when those 3 started. It was insane.
That's crazy.
And so, like, it was really fun to watch. It was probably a little bit closer, but it feels like it. But then you have Tread in center, who is just great athlete, great center fielder. Mm-hmm. But, like, we're sitting there like, How are we here? Next thing you know, we give up 3 runs to Liberty in the first game of the regional. Very first inning, we have our Friday guy, Jake Bennett. We give up 3 runs. It was like, all right, well, guess we're going to go home early. And then we turn
Where
around. We do
where
what?
were y'all playing that regional?
We were at
Okay, yes.
I actually didn't even talk about the Big 12 tournament. That was a
Oh yeah.
ball.
We can back up to that.
Yeah, we'll back up to that in a minute. But we're sitting there. We end up winning that 17-3.
I remember that one too.
17-3. And then turn around, we beat Florida. So we're like, all right, we're in the driver's seat now.
Uh-huh.
And then we just need to win one more. Was it one more? I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But we're in the champ series against playing Florida, and I say champ series. They have to beat us twice. We have to beat them once.
Mm-hmm.
We end up losing, and it was like nobody cared. It was like, this could be our very last game.
Yeah.
Nobody cared. We turn around, Trevin Michael, our closer, throws 7 innings of like 2-run ball.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
like he was that guy. Like he was
Wow.
insane to watch. And we bring in Jake Bennett to close out the ninth, and we're up by 2 runs at this point. Leadoff hitter Wyatt Langford, who plays for the Rangers now.
Yes.
Insane left fielder. Goes backside off him like first pitch of the inning, and we're like, oh boy.
Boy, here we go.
We end up winning that game by 1 run.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was like, I think they ended up getting a runner on second, or runner on maybe first and second,
Mm-hmm.
and we ended up closing it out. And it was just like, wow, we just did that.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
cool.
It's like Virginia Tech next week. But it's
Yeah.
like none of that really mattered. Like we didn't even celebrate. Even after the Big 12 tournament, we swept it 5-0. Oh, like
Mm-hmm.
didn't even come close to really losing a game other than, remember, I think I started game 1 and that was our closest game at like 7-3, 7-2, something
Oh,
like
wow.
that. Like that might have been our closest game. Like we just bulldozed through it.
Yeah.
And so it was just like, it felt like it came easy, but
Mhm.
like none of us thought about it like that way. And so I feel like that made us like really good.
Yeah,
But
you were
like,
obviously having a good time, so.
yeah, like we just kind of mess around the whole time. And it's like next thing you know, hey, we won. So what? Next game. And so I want to say we went to Virginia Tech, and that was probably, I wouldn't say the funnest part, but up until that point, that was the funnest part.
Yeah.
Because Jake Bennett shoves. I think we end up winning 5-4. He threw like 7 innings, maybe 8. Just
Wow.
threw his butt off. And then we come in. Trevin Michael comes in, closes it. And Trevin Michael always had a thing. Like he would mock their team's closers, like the little deal.
Oh, funny.
He would mock it and didn't do anything that game. Well, we end up getting blown out the next day. And they brought in their closer. We're down. We lost like 13-4 in game
gosh.
2. Like it was brutal. And their closer came in, he was like this little thing right here, like just like waving us off. We ended up beating him by 9 runs the next game to go to Omaha. And we brought in Trevin Michael to close in the game up by 9 runs. Just honestly, out of pity.
Yeah.
Out of pity. Like we knew we had it on lock. Cade Horton threw a gem. It was
Mhm.
awesome.
That's so cool.
But then Omaha, that was probably the time of my most fun I've ever had playing
I
baseball.
bet so.
Like you're treated like a celebrity up there.
Uh-huh. That's so cool. I love it. I
Like
think it's so
it
cool.
was, it was so much fun. And I remember we played Texas A&M first game, and I don't even remember who started that game. I think it was Jake Bennett actually. He started that game, and if we would have won, we had a day off every day. So
Oh,
like
right,
you win,
yes. Mhm.
day off.
Yes.
Play, if you win, day off.
Yes.
And so we won, or we're planning on winning this game.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say we were up like 12-4 at one point. And we instead of bringing in any bullpen arms, we bring in David Sandlin, who was our Saturday guy. Never came out of the pen at all.
Oh.
And we're all just sitting there. I was like, well, I guess we can go pack up our bags because we're definitely not needed. Like they didn't want to use us. And like it was more of like no shot at David there at all. But
Mhm.
it was like, I feel like we're here for a reason, and we just got shoved over. And it ended up, I think he gave up like 4 runs in .1 innings, and they got back in the game, and it was just like one of those things like, well, that sucked.
Right.
And we still ended up winning. But I was like, sitting there, I was like, that could have gone so much better.
Right. You did.
And
you
so
did.
we played Notre Dame the next game. Cade Horton
Oh,
shoved.
yes.
I think we beat them. I think it was a closer game. It might have been like 6-2 or
Mhm.
8-5 or something like that. Cade Horton threw a gem. And it was like, okay, now who are we going to throw? Because all of our weekend guys throw. And so David Sandlin, I have never seen this man, the way he pitched against A&M the second time, like he was a different animal. I think he had 13 punchies or something like that in
Wow.
7 innings.
Oh
And
my
it was like,
gosh.
it was a complete thing, a complete turnaround from
Uh-huh.
going four runs in point one to
Yeah.
seven, maybe one, I think one kid hit a homer.
Oh my
It was like seven
gosh.
innings, 1 run, 13 punchies.
Wow.
And I remember the whole deal was when we knew that we had like A&M, because they were
Mm-hmm.
good. Like when you have Slosh coaching, like you're gonna be good.
Yep.
But we're sitting there and we go through our pregame meeting and we're like, we're gonna throw first pitch fastball every single hitter because I want to say it was 75% of the time, it might have been more. They took pitch one, or strike one. They took strike one
Mm-hmm.
every single time, and they led the country.
Oh
And then the
wow.
only team that was even close to them was TCU, where
Mm-hmm.
Schlossnagle came from. So
That makes sense.
we had our game plan. Like we were going to get ahead, and then they'll get themselves out.
Right.
And David had 13 punchies, throwing first pitch fastballs to every single one of them.
Wow.
And it was like, okay, yeah, we beat them pretty handily that game. And then we're running in from the bullpen, about to shake hands. We're not celebrating or anything. We're just
Mm-hmm.
like going to high five, like it was like the job, like it was what we're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting there looking at Carter Campbell as we're running out. I was like, we're about to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like we're sitting there, we were on top of the world. And then that night, Ole Miss ended up getting beat by Arkansas. And so we're like, okay, now we have this in the bag because we have our pitching lined up when they don't, because they threw their
Yes.
best guy, or they had to throw their best guy the next day. And so we're sitting there, I was like, we got this in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we got destroyed game one. It was pretty brutal. Like that, sitting there back that game, like it was so much fun, but like we gave up 3 home runs in that 1 inning. Let me
Oh.
backtrack. Actually, they had a perfect game plan
Uh-huh.
for Jake Bennett. Like I want to say he was at like 80 pitches in the third inning.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
they were
Wow.
taking close pitches. It was almost like they knew what was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get to that I want to say seventh inning, and they give up the 3 home runs in a row, or I guess we do.
Uh-huh.
Me and Carter Campbell are warming up in the bullpen, and Ole Miss, they have their beer throw or whatever you call it.
Yes. Oh gosh, yes.
I'm sitting there after that third home run. I am drenched with beer. Like I smell like I've been drinking all day.
God.
Carter Campbell gets hit in the head with a full beer can,
Oh my
straight on the
word.
head. And then 10 seconds later, he's going into pitch.
Oh my God.
Probably concussed.
Right? That's
But
dangerous.
we end up losing that game, and then we're sitting there. So what? I got a
Yeah.
text that night saying 5 of the last 6 or 6 of the last 7 winners lost game one.
Yeah, it
And
happens.
so,
Yeah.
yeah, we're sitting there, and I'm like, okay, if we win tomorrow, like we're gonna win this thing.
Right.
It was a 0-0 game until like the 7th inning.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cade Horton threw his butt off. Their guy, who actually is the Friday night guy at Ole Miss now, the one we beat the other night. Yeah,
Okay.
he started that game.
Yes.
He
Okay.
was a freshman then, and he shoved it too. Like it was a great game to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we get, I want to say Kendall Pettis was on third base, and then we have John. John's up to bat, or Kenny might have been on second base actually.
Mm-hmm.
John lays down the bunt. It was a terror. It wasn't even a good bunt, but with John, you put something on the ground, you have a chance.
Yeah.
He's running up the first baseline. Next thing you know, ball goes into right field. We're all going ballistic in the bullpen. Like we're going crazy. We're like, yeah, it's our time. Let's go. This play is under review. And we're like, what could they possibly be reviewing? It wasn't fair or foul. And I didn't really
Mm-hmm.
know this rule at this time. But he was on the line, but like towards the inside of the line. And it was like, looking at it on the video board, is like, how can you overturn that? Because he was running on the line,
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't to the right of the line. He was on the left of it. And so that's
Okay.
what ended up calling him out. And by rule, the
Oh,
call is correct.
interesting.
But
Okay.
in that situation, it's like you reward a pitcher for a bad throw. Because
Wow.
if
Okay.
the ball didn't go into right field, they're not reviewing that at all.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the only time you do that is when the pitcher makes a bad throw or it
Mm-hmm.
hits the runner, but that didn't happen, of course.
Right.
And next thing you know, Spike's out and not on second base with 1 out.
Mm-hmm.
Kendall's back on second base,
Uh-huh.
and we have Peyton Graham up. And we're sitting there like, this could either go really good or really bad. I think he ended up flying out to semi-deep left, and we're like, okay, we have zero momentum now.
Yeah.
And it's 0-0. I want to say they scored one, or we might have scored first. I don't even remember. But it was 2-1 going into the bottom of the eighth, and we put in Trevin Michael. We're like, all right, we have a good shot here. I think we might have got 2 outs, maybe just one. Let's see. They got a runner on second. I want to say it might have been Tim Elko hit a decently hit hard or decently hit ball right by our first baseman into the right field. And we're like, dang. Because the guy was fast on base.
Yeah.
It was like, there's no way Spike's throwing him out. And so, like, okay, that tied it up. Their hit here ended up taking the lead. And then we were the home team. And so I think it actually went tied 2-2 into the top of the eighth. So we were pitching now. That would have been the top of the eighth. We're in the top of the ninth. And Trevin's still in because we're not going to anybody else. I want to say we might have given up an error, or it might have been just a base hit or something. Well, we have a runner on third. The worst time for a pitch mix-up. Jimmy thought it was a fastball up, and it bounced it like 47 feet. Ended up being the winning run, scored.
Gosh.
And we're just sitting there like,
did that just happen?
And it was like one of those things, like kind of that point, if we would have put something together in the bottom of the ninth, it probably would have hurt more than it did when we actually lost, because we didn't even put up. I think we went 3 up, 3 down in the ninth.
Right.
And it was just like, once you get to 2 outs, you're like,
okay.
Yeah. It's like, I'm expecting the worst, but we can always hope.
Hoping for the best, yeah.
Yeah. And then seeing them celebrate when, honestly, I didn't think they were very good at all. They were just playing good, and they ended up beating us when our offense just kind of went dead when it had been alive all the last 3 months. And so it was just it was a tough pill to swallow.
For sure.
You're sitting there, you've made it this far, and you, by all stats, are the better team.
Yeah.
You just sit there and you let it slip away, is what it feels like. And like, I still think about it to this day.
So close, yeah. I bet you do.
It was like what could have been, and then just kind of the next year we were like, okay, we're going to do it again, and then we really weren't even that good.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, but
it was a good run, and it was really fun to watch.
Yeah, it was like one of those things you don't realize how hard it is to get there.
Absolutely.
You've gotten there.
Yes.
And so it's just something, I think it's something to be proud of.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, so many things have to work out, and it's definitely something to be proud of. I talk about softball a lot, and I love softball. And again, it's something, as far as OU goes anyway, like we're kind of spoiled just expecting our softball team to host a regional and host a super and go to Oklahoma City, and it just happens. But yeah, I mean, a lot has to play out for those things to work and happen, and same with baseball. So yeah,
it's like one of those things.
Yeah, you don't take it for granted, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
It was like I didn't realize how hard it was to get there until probably this past year.
Yeah,
like we hosted the regional in Norman when we were I thought we were a top 8 team by far. Like I thought all year that we were going to make it back to Omaha. Like we were just going to play good when it matters, and we were. We're sitting there, and we lose to UConn, and I'm just like, UConn? Like, did we really just do that?
Yeah.
And then we turn around and play Duke. And I'm sitting there like, Duke's probably, they were kind of up there with us. I think they were a really good team. They just didn't finish the year like they probably were supposed to.
Yeah.
And so, like, they were picked by most to make it out of our regional. And so we're playing them, and it was fun playing against Wallace Clark, because that's where he ended up going.
Yes.
And so it was fun to play against him, and we ended up winning that game. We're like, okay, let's go beat UConn. And so from that point on, it was like, the joke was, well, if we don't win, we have to get a job. Like, for all of us, because there was a bunch of us that was our last year.
Yes,
and so we're sitting there, it's like, all right, winter job, boys, let's do it. And so we end up beating Duke right then, and then we turn around and we have to play UConn. We end up beating them. We're like, all right, one game to see who goes to Tallahassee. I end up starting that game. And I was like, I did not pitch good against Duke the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Did not pitch good at all. I think I ended up giving up a 2-run homer that brought them in from a 3-run lead to a 1-run lead.
Oh,
And I was sitting there, I was just so mad at myself. Like, I
yeah.
couldn't, it was hard. Like, once the game was over, I was like relieved.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard. That last like inning of the game was the most stressful inning of my life.
Oh,
After
I
I'd already
can
gotten
imagine.
pulled, I'm sitting there, I was like, did I really just do that? And then we end up beating UConn. All right, let's do it.
Yeah.
Find out after that game that I'm starting the next day. And I was just like, well, all right, let's do it. Never felt better in my life once we started. And I threw, let's see, 3 innings. I threw 3.2. And I felt like I could have thrown 8 innings that day. Like, we're sitting there. I give up the 2-run homer, and we weren't hitting at all. It was
Mm-hmm.
0-0 in the fourth. I give up a 2-run homer when, honestly, I probably should have struck the kid out. He was not very good. I just left one middle, and he hit it a mile.
Yeah.
And then, so we have 2 outs. We're down by 2. No big deal. Like, we're going to come alive at some point.
Yeah.
I end up striking out the next dude. Ball, drop third strike. Our catcher throws it into right field. And I'm like, did that really just happen? And I was just like, okay. Well, then they pulled me. And I'm like, okay, I thought I did good enough.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I thought I did really well.
Yeah.
And then they bring in another guy that took me out so we could have a lefty face him. He ends up
Okay.
hitting a homer.
Oh,
And so I was like, okay, well, that sucks.
yes.
And then we ended up, I don't even remember what we lost. I don't want to say it was like 5-1 or something. And it
Oh
was just like
gosh.
one of those things that, like, when the season's over, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt probably until like the next day.
That makes sense.
Because, like, you're sitting there for 4 years, you're sitting there thinking, I'm always going to be able to play more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I always have another game, another
Right.
game,
Yes.
another game. That last game was just, it was a tough pill to swallow. Because at that point, I thought my career was over.
Yeah.
Like, luckily, fortunately for me, I got the opportunity to go play professionally in Kentucky with Jet Lotus.
Okay.
And so we went and played for the Lexington Legends for a little bit. And
Oh,
he's
how
actually
cool.
still in Florence right
Okay.
now, playing for the Florence Y'all. So, like, he's still doing his thing. And
That's cool.
it was just like one of those things. Me being able to keep playing made that hurt just a little less.
That makes complete sense.
And so
Yeah.
I got to go out on my own terms. And
Yeah.
so that made it a little bit easier. And it made it a little bit easier to, like, look back and realize just how much fun I had.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now it's like I'm a year removed and I'm everything OU baseball. Like, if I could go up there every weekend, I would.
I'm the
I've
same way. I would too.
I haven't missed a game. Like, I was coaching a high school team down here in Marietta.
Uh-huh.
I was coaching them with my older brother, and if
Oh,
we played at
cool.
5, and the game started at 6, by the third inning, my phone was on and I was watching that game.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
And so, like, it was just one of those things, like, you just can't get away from it.
I
Like,
get it.
I love watching them, and they're doing really good right now, so it makes it even more fun.
Yes.
And so, like, I love it. It's a blast.
They are fun to watch, and I've been to several games this year. Mississippi State. So I wanted to go to the first SEC home game for like all
Yep.
the sports. So I did. I made soccer, of course, football, softball, all basketball, men's and women, baseball. Yeah. So anyway, I'm pretty sure with Mississippi State was the first SEC game at Norman, and yeah, we lost that Friday night game, and I was so mad because. And then the second game that I went to, what was it? But we lost it too, and I was like, I gotta quit coming
Yeah.
because I'm getting mad.
I remember
But-
that. I remember that Friday night game.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
Tyson threw his butt off.
Oh my gosh, I love watching those guys, the Witherspoon
Mhm.
twins. They are so fun to watch. They are just something else.
They
So,
have a chip on their shoulders, and they'll let you know about it too.
You can tell. Yeah.
Like, when things are going good, they're up here.
Uh-huh.
But when things are going bad, they're still up here.
Yes.
It's so much fun to watch because, like, they can go bases loaded with no outs.
Mm-hmm.
They could give up a run within that bases loaded, and they're jawing like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, you should have been better than that, but you're not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, like, it's so much fun to watch. And Carson that night, I want to say the final score ended up being like, what, 2-1, 2-0?
Yeah, it was pretty close. Yeah.
I was like, wow, that was a fun game to watch. And I actually went there, but I didn't get there till the third inning
Uh-huh.
because I want to say we had we played a game that night at Marietta, and probably on that, it was a Friday night. That
Uh-huh.
Tuesday, I'm sitting there. I was like, after our game Friday, let's go up to Norman. And he's sitting there. I was like, okay, I need to see what time we play because right now it's scheduled at 5. And I was like, there's no point in going if we played at 5 because we wouldn't be done by 7. Get up there by
Right.
the time the game's over. And so I was like, all right, you need to get this game moved. And so he did everything that he could to get it pushed to a noon game.
Uh-huh.
And because
Yes.
neither one of us had school.
Oh.
Neither one of us had school that day. And so like you need to do everything you can. It was right after spring. It was spring break. That was when it
Yes,
was.
yes, yes.
And so I was like, you need to do everything you can to move it. He's like, all right, I'll see what I can do. But with them getting back, because we were playing Calera, who's a little small school over here in Durant.
Yes, uh-huh.
They were just getting back from their Florida trip, so he's like, it's going to be hard to reschedule with them getting back.
Yeah.
He calls me the next day, and he's like, I got it moved up to 2:30, but that's the earliest I can do. And I was like, that works. So we
That's
finished
amazing.
we finished the game by I want to say 5 o'clock. We got
Yeah.
up there by the third inning, and it was just like, wow, first game back.
That's so cool.
I didn't. It felt weird.
I bet.
It felt really like I'm sitting there in the stands with like my girlfriend, my brother, and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'm sitting there and I'm talking to the guys like through the fence. I went and said hi to everybody, but it was just like I'm sitting there looking around and I'm like, I've seen these people before.
Mm-hmm.
Like and then everybody comes to the games and I'd be sitting there, I'd go to the concession stand, random guy, like I've never seen you before, but he knows who I am.
Ah.
And we just have a full on conversation about something that happened during the season.
I love it.
I have no clue who you are.
That's so
And it's
funny.
just like I know all the parents and stuff, and it should be
Uh-huh.
like a random like person just randomly come talk to me. And it's just like, huh, maybe you're a little bit cooler than you think you
Yeah.
are.
It's a small world out there sometimes.
Like I think I've gone to 3 games, 4 games, and like
Mm-hmm.
I'll sit there and talk to like the same people over and over
Mm-hmm.
and over. Like Jimmy Crook's parents, I sat with them the other night,
Uh-huh.
and we sat there and just talked ball for 5 innings,
That's awesome.
and it was just like, dang, you see it from a different perspective.
For sure.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
You're not used to being on that side of the fence.
so now I'm to the point where I can question like why is everybody doing this? Like I'm sitting there, I was like, why'd you just take the first pitch fastball when he did that the entire year before, but I never said anything. It was just like it was fun to watch, and it was
That's
fun to be
fun.
it's fun to be a part of.
Absolutely.
And so
Well, I talked to Carly about Kendall Pettis because it's been cool to see him now on the radio. He's been on a couple times with Toby, and that's super cool to see. And then I always think about him. I still remember, I know it was a postseason catch, but I feel like it also happened more than once. But that kid flipped all the way over
that was
to
Virginia Tech.
make a catch, and I will never forget it. I was like, that kid, like that is one thing about him that sticks out in my mind. I don't think I'll ever get over it, but I feel like he did it more than once. But yeah, that sticks
Sports
out to
Center
me.
like 8 times. It feels
Yeah.
like we called him Mr. Top 10.
That for sure, absolutely, yeah. It's cool to hear him on the radio with Toby, and it's just neat to see kind of where y'all guys go. So I remember when y'all played at Globe Life, but I'm trying to remember what year it was. I swear y'all played Texas, but it was like early in the season. I feel like not like
Oh, that was that Omaha year.
that's what I was thinking.
We played our Big 12 series down there. I don't
That's what I
remember
thought.
why.
I don't
But
either. But I went
'cause
we were there for 2 days. Yeah.
because that was supposed to be a home series for us.
Yes. Yes.
And in the end, you're sitting there, it's like, why did we do that?
Uh-huh.
But I remember, I want to say it might have been something was going on with the MLB. Their season might not have started yet. I don't even remember.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't remember
But
the timing.
we're sitting there, and since nobody was doing anything there,
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was either us or Texas or maybe even the Rangers reached out to us and asked us if we wanted to move the series to Globe Life. And us as players were like, no.
Yeah, you want
Yeah,
that home
no.
the home field.
Yeah.
That's you're supposed to get it.
It's like, why would we do that?
Yeah.
And then we get a text like the next day saying, all right, game's been moved to, like the series has been moved to Globe Life. And I was just like, are we dumb?
Right.
Because once we got there, that Friday night game, it was all orange.
Uh-huh.
It was a home game for them
It was.
during our home series.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, that might have just been like the dumbest thing we could do.
Yes. That was
It
frustrating.
ended up being really fun. Like it was a
Hmm.
good series, and we blew that series too. Now that I think
Yeah.
about it,
Mhm.
I want to say we lost the first one, and then
Yeah.
ended up winning the second one, and then had an 8 run lead. It might have been a 6 run lead in the
Hmm.
seventh inning on that Sunday,
Oh my goodness.
and we ended up giving up. I want to say 2 3 run homers in
Oh.
the eighth inning, and it was just like, oh, here we go again.
Well, I
But
remember y'all losing that series only because, like you said, I remembered it was supposed to be in Norman, and then they
yeah,
freaking moved it, and we were like, "What the crap?" But I mean, it's a cool experience to go there and all that, whatever. I'm sure to an extent, but yeah, you don't want to
uh-huh.
give up that home field, which you don't know what kind of difference that could have made in the series. But I guess it's neither here nor there.
Mhm.
You made it where you did in the end, but
I feel like
anyway.
it would be a cool thing if, kind of like they did at football. You
Uh
know
huh.
how they play in Dallas
Yes.
every year.
Uh huh.
I feel like that could be a cool thing to
Yeah,
do
yeah, for
with
sure.
baseball, maybe even softball. I don't know any like big softball complexes down there like that, like they do in Oklahoma City.
Yes,
But like I think that could be a cool thing to do.
I do too.
Like
I do
same
too.
week every year. I think that'd be
Yes,
fun. But at the same time, like it's baseball. Like you want to stay at home in
you
baseball
do.
because like you play so much that like you just don't want to sit there and travel
Yeah, for
and like
sure.
it's tough. But
Well, it would be cool if you could play, because like OU softball has done before. They'll play one game at Hall of Fame or Devon
uh
Park and play the other two in Norman. But it's not really
huh.
feasible to do that with Globe Life because it's too far away from Austin or Norman. So, but
Hmm.
it's been a while. I think it would have been before your time. I want to say it was maybe like 2017 or 18, maybe. But
Hmm.
they played Bedlam at least one game at Bricktown. At the Bricktown
Yeah,
ballpark. And that was super cool. And I kind of wish that they would do something like that. I mean, for
yeah, that would
softball
be
this
cool.
year, we just had the one game, for Bedlam
Yeah.
since it's non conference now. But we played it at Devon Park in a midweek game. And that was really a cool experience. And we actually went to Bedlam in Stillwater this year.
Hmm.
And I was happy. My husband is actually a Poke. Yeah, he graduated from OSU, so we have a lot of fun with it. So any Texas series and Bedlam, we
Hmm.
try to go to all the things. But Bedlam softball was on my birthday, and so we won. So that was
Oh,
awesome.
that's
And then
good.
the next week was Bedlam baseball in Stillwater. Oh, it was Jason Walk that hit the grand slam, and it
Yeah.
was right next to us. And I was going nuts, and my poor husband's just like, we drove all the way up here for this. But that was great. That was a lot of fun. But I love Bedlam anything. So
Hmm.
I think if they could do the Bedlam stuff in Oklahoma City, I think that's a little different. It's
Yeah.
closer and kind of in the middle for both teams. But for Texas, it's really hard because I know a lot
Yeah.
of people, even for football, are like, why are we giving the state of Texas all of our money all the time? And I get it. I do. But with football, the venue, it's such a
Yeah.
tradition now. Like that's never going to change. But
You
yeah,
can't
for
you can't change it.
baseball, yeah, you don't want to give up that home field. So I feel the same for softball. Like I don't, you're
Hmm.
not going to catch me in Austin. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But you only catch me in Stillwater because of my husband, and that's rare. But yeah, you don't want to give that up for baseball for sure.
Hmm. Nothing's better than playing at the Dale.
Uh, it's I haven't been to a lot of different baseball stadiums, but I will say O'Brate is awesome.
Oh, it
Like
is.
it
It's
is,
it's state of the art.
it really is. It is such a neat stadium. It's just really neat.
I loved playing there because so our bullpen would be right there in their
Uh
student
huh.
section,
Yes, yes.
and we'd be sitting there and like if we'd be losing, they'd be letting us have it.
Oh, I
If
bet.
we were winning, they'd still be letting us have
I'm
it. A little
sure.
bit less, but it never failed that all the people that were standing there because they knew people, like knew some of
Okay.
us.
Yes.
And so like it
Okay.
made it really fun. I know like half the people standing up
Yeah.
there. And so like we'd sit there and talk the entire time and not who cares what's going on in the game.
Right.
I remember last year we played the series at OSU
Uh huh.
and it was during the game that we had the hour delay or whatever. I think we were up
Yes.
like 18-10
Yes. Yes.
and we were in the ninth inning. Well, we kind of got to the point where I knew I wasn't going to throw.
Uh huh.
And so I'm sitting there, and one of my buddies, really good friends that I grew up with, and then there's like a whole group of them.
Uh huh.
And so they're all just sitting up there, and we started throwing footballs in the bullpen. Well, when we were just sitting there doing nothing, I'd be playing catch in the bullpen with them, like throwing it
Oh, how
over. I'm
funny!
surprised
How
they didn't
funny!
just keep it. But we're sitting there like it was always fun. Like you just sit there and like talk to them the entire time, hang
Yeah.
out, like while still trying to be like locked in.
Right, for
Yeah,
sure.
I
That's
have
cool.
I want to say it was Jason Walk's home run.
Mm-hmm.
He had the little slash home run. I want to say it was like his third on the year. Like he didn't have a whole lot of juice then,
Uh-huh.
like he does now.
Uh-huh.
But I want to say his home run went into the bullpen, and my best friend that I grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
I threw him the ball. Like I had the ball, I tossed up to him. Next thing you know, he's like crow hopping it and threw it back onto the field.
Oh
It was
gosh.
so funny. I was like, yeah, I don't know that guy, but
Yeah.
it was kind of funny.
Yeah, I didn't have any part of that. So you were talking about playing. Did you say you played in Louisville or Lexington?
Kentucky.
Okay, yes. I couldn't remember what you said. So I was going to ask you about that. Well, that's cool that you got to go and do that. Like you said, kind of go out on your own terms, so to
Yeah,
speak, from baseball. Yeah. So you were there
I was there for two
for
months.
over 2 months. Okay, okay,
Yeah, I played the second half of the season with the
okay.
Lexington Legends, and it was actually I probably could have gone a little bit earlier, but I guess they're one of their coaches. The day I was leaving for Myrtle Beach, like we were
Oh
driving to Myrtle
wow.
Beach, he calls me literally 20 minutes after I left the house, and
Oh my gosh.
I had to go to Norman,
Uh huh.
and then all the way like I was picking up my brother, but he calls me like when we're on the way, and I'm like, well, I can't go right now. Like he was a cool guy, like really great guy, and so like he was really understanding. He was like, hey, do you want to come play professional baseball here in Lexington, Kentucky? And I was like, did he really just ask me that? Like I thought I've been done for the last 3 weeks.
Right.
And so, like, I was sitting there, I was like, all right, I need to talk to my family, kind of figure all that stuff out because I had no
Yeah.
clue what to expect. And so, I have a 20-hour drive to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, I was like, by the time we got there, I'm like, okay, I kind of know what I'm going to do. Now, the hardest person to tell was my girlfriend. She didn't like it.
I bet she was not happy.
She supported me, but
Of
she just didn't
course.
want me to leave.
That's
And,
very
like,
understandable.
because I'd spent 4 months away, and like she
Uh-huh.
lived 2 hours away, and it's like we finally
Aw.
got the time to like where we got to
Yes.
actually be together.
Yes.
And then I turned around and had to leave for 2 months, and she saw me 1 week over those 2 months.
Gosh,
And
that's
so
so
that was
hard.
really tough on her. But
Yes, that's
we're sitting
understandable.
there. We get to Myrtle Beach, and I kind of just made my decision that I was going to play. And so I had to
Mm-hmm.
wait until we got back because I had to go still move out of my apartment.
Oh yeah.
Still had to move out of the apartment. I had like a week left to do it.
Oh
So I
okay.
went and did
Yeah.
that in 2 days.
Wow.
Like I was by myself too, and it was awful.
I
But
bet. Oh,
I was making trips from Norman to Ardmore,
in the
just
summer.
yeah, just taking stuff. And I sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm leaving in the morning, blah blah blah.
Uh-huh.
Well, my younger brother, he's 15. He was playing summer ball, and my older brother is the coach. And
Okay.
so they were playing about an hour away.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, hey, you coming to coach with me this weekend? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll come coach. And he goes, oh, by the way, I need a place to stay. And I was like, oh, okay.
Oh
So
my gosh, how funny.
he came and stayed with me in Norman that night. And then I was leaving at like 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there just kind of hanging out for one last time before, I was gone for
Yeah.
2 months. And we stayed up till probably midnight. That 7 o'clock wake up call was not fun.
I bet.
But then it got worse as I had to drive 13 hours by
Yeah.
myself. You
I
never
bet
realize how
so.
far that is until you're by yourself.
That is
Like it
so
was
true.
awful. But that was a fun experience. Like kind of getting to be on my own
Yeah.
and like try to learn how to adult a little bit while still
Yeah.
getting to do what I loved. It was a great
Absolutely.
experience.
Yeah.
Now
That's cool.
we weren't very good. I think we ended up getting second to last
Oh,
in the standings, which when I got there we were like 7 games like in last place. Like
right.
we played really good towards the end of the year, which made it really fun. The
Yeah.
golf up there is beautiful.
Oh, I bet
It's so
so.
nice to golf out there.
I was going to ask you about what you're doing now and getting to coach and what that's like.
It's interesting.
Mhm.
Like you see the game from a completely different perspective, like you do in the stands.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
the probably the hardest thing for me is just realizing how slow the game is now. Like you're sitting there, you're seeing guys throw 95, upper 90s like
Mhm.
daily,
Mhm.
and then you turn around and you're like, you have a pitcher throwing 75, 80. 80, like a good high school pitcher, a decent high school pitcher throws 80. And you're like,
Okay.
I can't comprehend that. And then you turn around and the hitters have trouble hitting it. And it's just like, I feel like me and my older brother, he played college baseball too. So like we played at high levels.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like our thing is we try to almost dumb the game down,
Yeah.
but it was easier for us than it is most other people.
Right. That
And
makes
so
sense.
like
Yeah.
it's hard to like learn that it's harder for them than it was for you, so it's not as easy as you think it is.
Right.
And it's just like kind of one thing that I had to learn like really quickly. Like coaching, it's just like, oh my goodness, this shouldn't be that hard and y'all are making it so hard. But they have to do it differently than how I did it. And like I understand that now, which
So true.
made it a little bit more challenging, but in the long run I think it helped the guys more.
Yeah. That
Because
makes
like I was
sense.
able to change that approach and like, kind of try to be better about it.
Yeah.
And so our season ended last week, and it was like we had our struggles. Like we're a young team. I want to say
Yeah.
we were losing three seniors, and then
Yeah.
one June. Like we'll have one senior next year,
Oh, wow. So they are
and
very
so like
young.
they're very young. Great, great guys though. Like
Yeah.
they'll be pretty good.
I was gonna
And
say, well,
then
that's good for you because you have time to work with like a
yeah,
lot of the same kids. So yeah.
and so my actual like day job in Durant, Oklahoma, I work in an elementary school. I am a one-on-one
Oh,
with a student,
oh my
with
gosh.
a
Okay.
special needs student. And
Okay.
so he's a first grader, but he's a good kid. But it's like he
Yeah.
keeps me on my toes for sure because I
I can
never know what I'm gonna
imagine.
get. And so like I do that from I guess 7:30 to 1:30.
Okay.
Actually now it's about 3 o'clock since our season's
Yeah.
over. But I'd get out at 1:30, have to drive an hour to Marietta
Oh my
just
goodness.
for practice, and then drive an hour back later. And so it made for some long nights.
That
But
is holy
it was a
smokes.
blast. It
Well,
was really
good.
fun. It was really
Yeah.
good getting to coach with my brother because not many people get to do that. And
That
so I
is
was like,
cool.
that's something I'll probably cherish forever. That one.
Absolutely. That's really cool. Okay, so are you going to keep coaching? I just assumed.
I would like to keep coaching.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Still trying to figure that out a little bit.
That is okay. And I am proud to have my degree from OU. I always wanted to go there,
Absolutely.
worked hard for it, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't trade it for anything. And, life happens and you just kind of figure it out as you go. So, good luck to you as you do that.
So thank you.
I talk, of course, I could sit here and talk sports all night, but well, thank you, Carson,
Of
for
course.
sharing all the things. Like I said, I could sit here and talk sports, any sport, all night long. So I appreciate it very
Of
much.
course.
Thank you all for listening to that fun conversation with Carson Atwood, and I hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said several times on the interview, I could have sat and talked different sports with him all night long. Some people are just fun and easy to talk to, and you can tell they share that love for sports. So I appreciate Carson taking the time to come on the show this week and share with us. It's time for this week's Sooner Sports Headlines of the Week, and I'm still watching some softball. Right now we have Ole Miss and Arkansas battling out in the elimination game to determine which team will make it to the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City, which starts on Thursday. So we will just start our conversation there. OU will be advancing to the Women's College World Series on Thursday, and they will play Tennessee. I believe they will have an early afternoon game, but that is not yet in stone. We should find that out. Obviously, by the time this episode drops, we will have that information with the bracket and the game time. So be sure and check social media for that information. So far in the Women's College World Series, we have Oklahoma, Texas, Oregon, Texas Tech, Tennessee, UCLA, Florida just won in advance just moments ago, and we are currently still awaiting the winner of the Ole Miss Arkansas game. So one of those two teams we will see in Oklahoma City. And again, OU will play on Thursday, so if you're listening to this when it drops, be sure and check social media so you don't miss the game time. We will be playing Tennessee. I'm just not sure of the game time on this coming Thursday, and we are hoping that the Oklahoma weather cooperates for the duration of the Women's College World Series this year. And again, let's just recap a little bit of softball since we started out on that note. OU women hosted Alabama in Norman for the Super Regional. We played Friday and Saturday. We swept them, run ruled them, so we did not need to play game 3 on Sunday. Since the regular season ended, now we do know, side note, if you remember, OU did lose to Bama in Tuscaloosa, lost that series, took one game from them, but lost that series to Alabama just about a month ago. And so it was the start of their revenge tour when they come to town for Supers, and boy, did the Sooners capitalize on that, and our bats woke up. We had some excellent performances in the circle by Sam Landry on Friday. Kirsten Deal showed out again on Saturday along with Audrey Lowry, and step 1 of the revenge tour has been knocked out. And again, step 2 will be trying to take down Tennessee on Thursday, as they took the series from us in Norman in March in the regular season. So that will be step 2 of our revenge tour. We do know that that one is coming up. So OU softball, since the regular season ended, we are 7-0. We have scored 59 runs. We have allowed 12 runs. We have 4 run rule wins, 2 shutouts, and we are Oklahoma City bound. The first shutout in Supers since 2022, behind an excellent performance by Sam Landry. Cassidy Pickering home runs, Sid Barker's RBIs, and that was just game 1. Again, just an excellent performance all around, complete team performance on Friday. And then again on a Saturday, the same thing. Game 2, Gabby Garcia has a team leading 20th home run. She actually hit 2 home runs on Saturday in game 2 of the Supers, and she had a 4 RBI day. We had a 3 home run 5th inning. Ella Parker home run, Nellie McEnroe Marinas home run, and Abby Dayton had 3 RBIs. OU is 50-7. Heading into the Women's College World Series at Devon Park. That again starts on Thursday. And you guys, I could sit here and talk all day long about Gabby Garcia, how amazing she is. Kirsten Deal pitched a heck of a game in the circle. And let's just talk about her for just a moment. That was really something that she needed, that performance for her. I think going into the Women's College World Series and just being in the postseason, she's been a part of the postseason with us the last 2 years. She knows what it's like. She knows what it takes. She has what it takes, but she has struggled this season. And it's interesting because I don't remember the wins that have counted for Kirsten Deal this season, but I know she has 2 losses on her name for the season. But Kirsten Deal has that championship mindset. She has what it takes to get the job done, and she reminded herself of that, and she reminded us of that in the circle on Saturday. And I'm so glad she did, because Sam Landry is our ace, and we all know it. She is incredible. She can carry the team. She wants to carry the team. She has that love and that desire and wants to do that, but she can't pitch through the entirety of the Women's College World Series. We have to have a staff of arms to back her up and come in and help her in the circle and get it done. We've seen Audrey Lowry in the SEC Championship, and then again in Game 2 in Supers, get the job done when she is called upon as well. So I think going in, we can count on Sam. We can count on Kirsten Deal. This environment is something like these girls have never seen before, and we have all of these freshmen, all of these newbies, transfers, including Sam Landry, who have not been in this environment. So I think it's very important, the experience that these girls have gotten in the loud environment, not only at Love's Field, because as loud and rowdy and crowded as Love's Field is, we're still looking at only 4,000 to 5,000 people on a good day. At the Women's College World Series, you're going to be looking at somewhere around 10,000 to 12,000 people when it's packed out, especially for Oklahoma. They're going to fill the stands and the outfield bleachers. So it's an environment like no other that a lot of these girls haven't seen before. So Kirsten Deal really stepping up and reminding herself and us as fans that she does have what it takes to get the job done and to teach those girls what it's like is a really good thing going into the College World Series. And again, Sam Landry has that experience pitching in that stadium a couple of times earlier this season, as we set the record at the time for the regular season single game attendance against OSU. And then we did play there again against Mississippi State with a fairly large crowd. They do have that experience. However, when you add in that additional 3,000 to 4,000 people and the sound, the volume, it's a totally new atmosphere. Kirsten having that, and she's going to, I think, mentally and emotionally help prepare and carry that pitching staff going into the College World Series. And again, Peyton Monticelli is there. She has that experience as well, and she's been with us last year year for the World Series, and so she also has that experience and knows what it takes as well. And I think it's important. And we also have Bella Smith. She's a reliable arm that I do believe that we could call on if needed as well. So it'll be interesting going in. I do think Sam obviously will start on Thursday against Tennessee, but I think we've got the arms that we need and the people with the experience to help carry that load into the tournament. And again, Gabby Garcia, you guys, she is just a freshman, and Sid Barker, she's another one, has just come up clutch. Nelly is a freshman. I know she was on the bench last year as redshirt, but this year serving as a captain, she's really stepped up, and she has done an excellent job at being clutch in the moments when it matters. And it's just incredible, you guys, what these players have done, and it is not normal. I know as OU fans, I know we've talked about this before. I talked about it with DJ, with Kelly Bright, with Amber Flores as well earlier in the season, and even with Chris Plank starting out the season back in February. OU fans are spoiled. We are used to ending our postseason in Oklahoma City, and the last 4 years we're used to ending our postseason on top. And our seniors that graduated last year know nothing other than winning a national championship. That's incredible. But it's also not normal. We cannot take it for granted as OU fans. We cannot expect something from those kids that is almost insurmountable. I mean, they're just human. And I do think that they have the talent and the desire and that championship mindset that they need to take into the tournament to get the job done. I'm not saying that I doubt them as far as winning the whole thing. I'm just saying that as OU fans, we're spoiled, and we need to remember that it's not something to take for granted. Our 9th trip in a row to the Women's College World Series, that is the current longest active streak for appearances, and the Sooners have it. Because of course we do. But again, it's not normal, you guys. There were a lot of good teams that got beat out this year in regionals and supers, hosts that got beat out, and it's just incredible to think that we have accomplished that on a quote rebuild year with Patty. Okay, we have a winner in the Ole Miss Arkansas game, and Ole Miss has beaten Arkansas in Fayetteville to advance to the Women's College World Series. So again, another host that goes down in supers. Wow. Arkansas is a very good hitting team, a very good team. I mean, honestly, to think that we don't have to face them again is kind of nice. But let's talk about that too a little bit. Okay, so we get Tennessee on Thursday. And in place of that, we could have gotten Nebraska. We could have gotten Jordy Ball. And I think everybody was kind of rooting for that Jordy Ball Oklahoma reunion matchup or whatever. But it's not going to happen. I kind of have mixed feelings about that. I mean, I do think it would have been cool. But I do think it would have been really emotional for Jordy. And honestly, I feel like that OU would have had the advantage in that situation because we've got a new team of batters that she's not familiar with. She didn't play with the majority of these players. I believe the only one she would have played with is Sydney Sanders. So a brand new team for her that she would have been facing as batters, whereas it's easier for hitters to give notes and talk about and how to adjust to a pitcher. I think it's easier to do that than it would be for a pitcher, as in Jordy Ball, to make those adjustments for a whole entire lineup that she's not familiar with. So as far as the familiarity part of it, I don't feel like that Jordy would have had an advantage as far as that's concerned. But that's neither here nor there because it's not happening. We do have Tennessee, like I said, on step 2 of our revenge tour to get Carlin Pickens again, and she broke her speed record, her very own speed record, broke it again Saturday in the supers. So that'll be challenging enough for us going forward into the Women's College World Series. And if you guys didn't see the photo, I would go, Taylor Maples shared it on X, Twitter. I did see it floating around Facebook and a couple of other places, but the Alabama seniors left their shoes on the Alabama A that was painted onto Love's Field on Saturday night. And that was just a really cool photo, but also an emotional scene that they left there in Norman. That is just so hard for those seniors. They played their last game. They played their last game in Norman at Love's Field. And if you didn't hear what Coach Patrick Murphy, the Alabama coach, said in the post game about Patty and the program and the sport, the stadium, all the things, I highly encourage you to go and find that and give it a listen because he said some really cool things. He was very thankful to all the reporters for being there and giving them their flowers and playing the part that they have played in growing the sport. And it was just a really cool thing to hear. I do have to give a funny little story, side note, to my softball texting buddy, Lindsay McBride. Okay, so we had a little joke going earlier in the season, and I know I've said it before how people, including myself at times, have had our doubts about Kirsten Deal, and just we want to see Sam Landry in the circle all the time, and it's just not possible. And so we've had our jokes and everything going forward with Kirsten Deal, and so we decided that every time she is in the circle that we were going to quote complain and text about it, and like she could hear us and it would help her to play better. Because ironically, as Lindsay was texting me a while back and complaining about her and something going on, she went out and had a killer performance. So it kind of became our superstition, so to speak, that we were going to text each other and quote complain about KD being in the circle, and that would encourage her telepathically to do well. So Lindsay texted, we were texting on Saturday after game 2 of the Supers, and she said, everyone should thank us and they don't even know. And I agreed. I definitely said that they should. And she said, I think you should mention it on your podcast. That would just be great, because we need people to know that they should thank us. So Sooner Nation, you're welcome. You can thank Lindsay and I for complaining, quote, about Katie being in the circle and telepathically encouraging her to give it her best in the circle. So shout out to my bud Lindsay for being my texting buddy and our little superstition, because yeah, I'd like for us to think that we definitely played a part. Okay, just a few other tidbit things to throw in before wrapping up this week's episode. For the rest of the Sooner headlines of the week for football, we grabbed another quarterback out of the portal, Norman native Gavin Franks. He is the former starting quarterback at New Mexico State, and he is transferring to the Sooners. He did spend 2024 at Virginia. Not super familiar with the kid, but it's not going to hurt to have another quarterback in the room, learning the system, getting some reps, learning from John Mateer. It's not going to hurt to have the quarterback room stacked a little bit, since we did lose a couple in the portal. So it's nice to have a new one coming in. For our women's basketball, Hera Williams is representing the U.S. in a 3x3 women's series in Marseille, France. It started this weekend. I've been following that on social media, so you should check that out. It was really cool to see her repping not only the United States, but the University of Oklahoma. Pretty cool. Our baseball guys, let me just give them some props, because going into the SEC tournament last week, no one picked them to go out of round 1. No one picked them to beat Kentucky. They picked them to play one and done, hit the road jack. That's not what they did. They came in on day 1 and they beat Kentucky. They came in on day 2 and they beat Georgia. Talkie was back in after his injury about 6 weeks ago. He had a hairline fracture in his ankle. He was back in action. That was great to see. We did lose to Vandy on day 3 of the tournament, but selection show is on Memorial Day. So again, by the time this episode drops, we will have the seed and location and opponent for our baseball boys, and where they will head for regionals, which start next week. I hate that we couldn't get past Vandy, but Vandy did end up winning the entire SEC tournament, so it makes me feel a little bit better that we did lose to the tournament champions. And the SEC all-tournament team, Jackson Willits, made that, and so not quite sure why Kyson Witherspoon was not named on that team, but nobody asked me. The final tennis rankings of the season were dropped this past week as well, and our men's team ended 24th overall. Our men's double, Oscar Lasitas and Bruno Naveen, shout out to my friend Bruno, finished the season at number 14. Our women's team finished at number 10, and our women's single, Julia Garcia Ruiz, at 25th, and our women's doubles with Julia Garcia Ruiz and Alina Sherbanina finished at 17th. Our track and field, we had OU all-time performers list from the SEC Outdoor Championships, and those were for the men. We had Brandon C. and Will Debo for discus, Floyd Whitaker for the triple jump, Evans Buwat for the steeplechase, and Colton Rhodes on the pole vault. And for our women, we have Abby Rudo for the 800 meter, Ashley Moore and Eunice Mimboy in the triple jump, Cassidy Sani for the javelin, and Gabby Barrera in the 5,000 meter. Also, Pippi Lotta Enoch, which is a name that you hear frequently and see frequently if you follow them on social media. She auto-qualifies for her 3rd straight NCAA championship, and we will be finding out others that qualify for that in the next week or so as they head to continue the postseason as well. Our rowing girls had a couple of SEC team members in Allison Duff, Caroline Downs, and Lale Adil. And for golf, our OU women concluded their NCAA championships, and they tied for first as a team, and Savannah Barber competed for the individual title, and she did finish in the top 25, so congratulations to her. And also, side note on our women's golf team, I did see on social media this past week that our friend Reagan Cheney, who was a previous guest on the show, she will be returning next season to continue her senior year with the golf team. So yay, congrats to Reagan. We're so glad that you will be back with us next season. For our men's golf, they competed at time of recording. I'm recording on Sunday, the NCAA Day 3 for them. The top 15 does advance on, and they are sitting in second place very solidly. So no concerns about that cut there. But the final cut has not yet been announced, as round 3 is still concluding. But the Sooners will definitely make the cut there. Okay, for my Sooner MVPs of the week, I'm going to give it to our girls in the circle, Kirsten Deal and Sam Landry. And I'm going to throw out a little side note for Gabby Garcia as well for her team leading 20 home runs of the season. But our girls in the circle, we already talked about that earlier in the episode, but they deserve all the props, especially Kirsten, for getting that job done, for reminding herself what she's capable of, and reminding Sooner Nation for what she's capable of. So MVP of the week honestly could go to the entire softball team for continuing that tradition and making that 9th trip to Oklahoma City to the Women's College World Series. And we wish you guys the best of luck. And so to end this week's episode as the Sooner Fun Fact of the Week, in 2012, Rebecca Staff became the first OU female student athlete to be named as the Big 12 Rower of the Year. Super cool. Super cool fact. So thank you all very much for listening this week. I appreciate your overwhelming support. And if you don't follow me on social media, I am literally on every platform there is at Sooner Girl Pod. It's very easy to find. My link is in my bio on all the platforms, my link tree where you can find links to all the social media, all the podcast apps. If you're interested in purchasing merch, to sign up for my newsletter that's called The Playbook. The first one did go out last week. So if you sign up on Substack, you can sign up for free to get that sent directly to your inbox once a month, in addition to the weekly episodes and any other big announcements that I have for the show. And on Substack also, you can join us in the chat, and you can join the Locker Room, which is my girls only community. We have monthly online Zoom huddles. We actually use Google Meet. And we have a chat, we have a private feed on Instagram, get a discount on merch. I do giveaways. I'll be doing another one soon for some OKC Spark tickets. So be sure and sign up on Substack so you never miss a thing. And if you feel so inclined to join the Locker Room and get all of the perks, you can find out more about that on Substack as well. And it's only $5 a month. For my Huddle Girls, we do have a meeting when this episode drops on Wednesday the 28th. It is that evening. And so if you're listening to this on Wednesday, it's not too late to join in. You can shoot me a message or check out Substack for more information. So again, if you don't follow me on social media, please go give me a follow. That's where all of the good stuff is. And on Substack as well, at Sooner Girl Pod on all socials. And I appreciate you guys so much for listening. If you could leave me a review on Facebook or any of the podcast apps on Apple or Spotify, or leave a comment on YouTube, let me know that you're watching, listening. I greatly appreciate it so much. It means so much to me that you guys keep pressing play and listening and supporting me. And please share with a friend. If you know a Sooner fan, especially a girl, send them my way. We've got a great slate coming up this summer. I've got some great plans, some more great people coming on the show, and you're not going to want to miss out. So I hope that you join me in all the places so that you don't miss anything. So again, thank you so much for listening. And I am so excited for the Women's College World Series. I've got some great guests coming up to talk about some more softball as the season is winding down. So again, stay tuned and cheer like a champion this week for the Women's College World Series on Thursday. Boomer Sooner, OU against Tennessee. And we will also be cheering for our baseball guys as they get their seed for their regional tournament on Memorial Day. So when you're listening to this, make sure you check it out and find out so you don't miss the guys as well. So Boomer Sooner, everybody, cheer like a champion, and I will see you next Wednesday where we talk sports.